start to prepare. My body feels it, but the fight, oh, the chaos has its place. The spinning takes its place. My mind begins to race. Recognize my face. Talking by myself. I don't need no help. The chaos takes its place. Recognize my face.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kristen Manners, and I want to welcome everybody again to another edition of Targeted. I'm here tonight with my co-host, V, and I want to welcome my guest, Lindsay Bowman. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Lindsay. And I'm really super excited to have you on tonight, Lindsay, because we have a lot in common. Lindsay's here tonight because, and I want to thank her for doing such. She's a targeted individual, and she has an experience that she wants to talk about tonight with the occult and also Scientology. I'll let her explain her situation a little bit more. But first of all, thank you, Lindsay, so much for being here. And I want to introduce you to my co-host, V. And can you please just tell us a little bit about your situation, introduce yourself, and I'll let you get started. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you said my name right. It's Lindsay Bowman. I am targeted due to multiple situations, but the one I'll focus on tonight is with the Scientology and the cults, which we were speaking of. And what that derives of is about 3 years ago, I used to be a New Ager. I was into, aligning my chakras, meditating, all of the love and light stuff. And in leaving that religion, I encountered what you would call a cult. And at the time, I didn't know that's what it was. But I had switched over and I had come to Christ over a series of events that led me back to Jesus Christ as my source of the one true God. And after leaving, I was targeted heavily and I had no idea what was going on. I lost everybody I had ever known in my life in a series of a couple of days. After I had left, I started getting attacked by witchcraft horribly. And when I say that I was attacked by witchcraft, I want to make a statement saying that before all this happened, I was that person who did not believe in witchcraft at all. If you would have told me 3 years ago that, witchcraft was real, I would have laughed at you. I was the person that made fun of people who thought witchcraft was real. No. But it's real. It's very real.
Well, I can tell you, this is one of my favorite subjects with the Freemason cult known as Scientology. And yes, the technology, they can definitely make you feel as though you're under witchcraft. I mean, that's what the targeting is all about. It's all paranormal. And these cults are funded, and I will say Scientology is the biggest of them. That is secret society. People have machines, there's e-meters and all sort of crap like that, which they let you know they have psychotronic devices for one, where they are, whether they work or not, but it lets you know they're into technology for mind control.
Yep. Now, I didn't have a chance to share this with you, Lindsay. I just had a chance to briefly get into it with you on Messenger. But the reason that I do have, I can relate to this is, even though I love her with all my heart, my stepmother, after leaving my stepfather, she married a man who was heavily involved in the Church of Scientology. And I worked for their company. I was their office manager for 4 years. And every single day, I mean, they were very high ups in the Church of Scientology. As a matter of fact, her husband lived on a Scientology ship for half the year. And every day when I came in to work, there was a tone scale on the wall. And I had to tell them where I was at on the tone scale every morning when I came in. And then in order to keep my job every year, I had to attend a Scientology event. I actually was taken to L. Ron Hubbard's birthday party, and we all know that L. Ron Hubbard is gone. And they celebrated his birthday like he was alive. And of course, I didn't believe in any of it. And I inevitably lost my job at the company because my child, who my stepmother adored, they actually took her everywhere. She was like their grandchild. I was given an ultimatum. I was told during the off season, because it was a landscape company, you either allow us to put your child, my child, in a Scientology school during the off season and board her there basically, or you're not going to have your job any longer. Well, you already know what my position is. I am a Christian. I could not do that. So I did. I lost my job there. But it was either that or stick to my guns and my beliefs. I broke my foot. I broke my foot on the property one day. I tripped over the dog and trying to get out the door. And my stepmom's husband told me that the reason that happened was because I wasn't in touch with my former life. And had I been in touch with my former life, I would have known that the dog would have been there, and that I would have known better to be at that one place at that particular time. And I would not have tripped over the dog, just as I would know if there was a plane flying above me and it would drop something on my head, I would have also known that. And I just am not aware of my former lives. So I am very, very much aware of these particular individuals in what they do. My life, they tried to run my life every single solitary day. I wrote out checks on a daily basis, and I'm not even lying. I wrote out checks for $345,000. I wrote out checks for $245,000 to the org. My stepsister actually lived in an org for over 5 years. Her life was completely managed by an org. So this is serious business. And I completely appreciate the fact that you're willing to come on and talk about these things, because they are very much real. And when my targeting situation happened at my residence, they hung voodoo doll. They did. I had a voodoo doll hanging. They hung a voodoo doll from my tree at my residence. And at first I didn't know what it was. And then I looked outside, I could see this thing swinging in shadows. And sure enough, I had a voodoo doll hanging from my tree at my residence. So it's very much real. Why do you think, who do you think, though, did this to you? All you were doing was switching face. So who do you think did this?
Well, I have an idea of who my primary perp was, but the thing is, this is such an intricate network that I don't think it was necessarily personal, but more of an assignment, so to speak. Because what I've been doing is, like, after I left my religion, which you would think, okay, you switched religions, who cares? Who would care about that? But the reality is that it's anything to keep you away from the cross. And that is the seriousness of who Jesus Christ is as Lord and Savior. And what this program is, and the Scientology cult, which I have figured is a subcult of the Illuminati. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
you're right.
What they do, it's this intricate system of these agents who are assigned to keep people away from Christ and from the truth. So they're in the chat rooms on Facebook and social media monitoring everybody, hacking into their accounts, watching all of their conversations, gathering intel on them. They know who your family is, who your friends are, what your likes are, what gets you going, what gives you anxiety, everything about you. And they keep it on file. And the minute that you cross over or you have too much truth, that is when they start targeting you. And when they start targeting you, it's what I call a cockatrice web, which the cockatrice is in the Bible. It's a demonic spirit that is sent to basically kill its victim. But the web is a system of agents that surround you. And I'm going to use Facebook as a scenario because that's what we're all familiar with. They will send in a best friend. They will send in a honeypot. They will send in random people that really you have no idea who they are, but they say hi every now and then and ask, hey, are you married? Are you single? How many kids do you have? Stuff you really wouldn't think about. But it's to gather intel on how they're going to target you. And once they do that, that's when they start stripping away everything in your life and getting people to hate you. I've had so many people that I've loved who have turned around and absolutely hated my guts for no reason, but from these individuals who spread lies and the witchcraft that has been used to target me, it's been profound. But the thing with America is people don't believe in witchcraft, so even speaking about it is looked upon as you're crazy, basically. So it's hard to expose this right now, but I got to stand on my word and in my faith in Jesus Christ that, you know, what I'm speaking is the truth, and it will stand firm and bold, and people will believe me.
Well, it's definitely you hit it right on the head there. It's really not personal. It's procedure. When dealing with these fraternal cults, these people who call themselves Illuminati or call themselves Freemasons, even though they're far from these things, you have this fraternal order, just like the mob. The only way you're going to leave is in a body bag. You have intelligence, mind frame. You don't just leave an intelligence agency. Once you're in it, you're in it. If you think that you're out of it, you're being monitored. You can't have loose ends, okay? You can't have people with full working knowledge of their operations free floating. They will always consider you as their property or someone to be dealt with, okay? It's how you know who you're dealing with by how they deal with you.
I mean, I don't think I've ever asked this question because, quite frankly, I really haven't wanted to know. But how many individuals do you think across the globe are involved in this program of targeting individuals?
Doing the targeting?
Yeah.
Well,
if you had to give a round number, I mean, just to get an estimate.
Well, that would be impossible to tell. There's so many factors. You have people who are running the program. They run the tech, the covert tech.
Yeah.
Then you have a level of people who just deal with the intelligence, the gathering. Then you have the field ops. Then you have the field ops who contract people because they have the distance as much as possible of the targets from themselves. And it goes to another level of people who are used unwittingly, you know, through spreading of rumors. And then you have people who will do it subconsciously, who are being programmed to react to certain people in a certain way based on normal everyday influences. So that's an impossible way to quantify.
Yeah, but I still see, because we talked about this before, and I think I mentioned this to Lindsay as well. they're still a minority group targeting a minority sector of the world population. And the reason I say that is because they want to make targeted individuals believe that they are this great big huge gigantic group that is completely taking over the world. That is not correct. They are still a minority group that is also targeting a minority group of the entire world population. So, you know, when I hear stories like Lindsay's, it just really annoys me, because using religion, using, you know, individuals who may have been like Lindsay, who may have been just experimenting with certain things and then decided against something else. I'm not caring whether or not you're doing that. I'm not going to bother you. You know what I'm saying? So why are they bothering somebody like Lindsay, who just happens to decide, okay, that's not my cup of tea anymore? That's what's really bothersome to me. How long was it, Lindsay, after you made the transition? How long was it before you noticed?
It was before, actually. It was before I actually left that I was targeted, because I fully believe that I was separated from people within the community I was in my New Age community, for a reason. And that reason being, if you have an understanding of how, you know, God works and your divine connections and the people that you're supposed to be in alignment with, I had people in the New Age that are my divine connections, that if we were together, it would have built a too powerful kingdom against Satan for us to know the truth together. And as I was coming to the truth of Jesus Christ, I was a threat to everybody else in what I was experiencing and what I was coming to realization of. So that's when my targeting happened, right before I left, because you want to get the person that knows the truth out the door to keep the other ones in the dark.
Yeah.
But after I left, I actually, and this is how this works, because the entrapment still works after you leave. And this is how insane this is, but I was actually picked up by this guy on my page who claimed that he worked for Anonymous. And I've always trusted Anonymous as a source of, you know, power and the good people that are going to help you. And had no idea at this point in time, because I was naive, that there was good people and bad people in Anonymous, and not all of them are legitimate. So he claimed that he wanted me to help him with this cancer road and dispersing it to get money to help these children in this hospital. He spoke to me in code, pulled me into this room. I told him that I would help him after I thought about helping him. He wanted me to be this editor of this group and writing these communications. I no more than left, went to the grocery store, came back, and he had already decided for me that I was going to be editor of this group. So now he has made me editor, give me no password whatsoever. So I'm basically locked in this group, which is called The World's Most Beautiful Women. And I'm probably going to get targeted heavily for sharing this information. So I'm just letting you know how serious this is. But what this program is using women as a source of money. It's called a shares program, and it's part of the Illuminati, which I didn't know at the time. But they share these pictures, and they get paid for them in order to obtain a source of income. I was in this group for about 2 weeks. Came to figure out what was really going on, and I left. Never got paid. I never did much of anything, but I left. And at that point, my targeting escalated, and it's been escalated ever since then, because I know inside information of the Illuminati program that I should not know. But that is the entrapment system of what is going on. Is you can get out, but they're going to trap you, and they will trick you, and they will not tell you the truth. And then that's how you get perps. Because I fully believe that half the people targeting other individuals really don't want to target them, but they are so scared of leaving these programs they've been trapped into, they have no idea how to get out. And the only
I have a very serious question for you, Lindsay. One that I really, it's very, very difficult to ask you. It really is, because it's a very touchy subject with me. But I know that you have children, and how does this affect your children?
You know what? It doesn't affect them how one would think it does, and I can only thank God for that I have kept them out of most of this as best I can, due to the fact that the days that I'm in pain, I don't show pain. The days when I want to break down in tears, I don't break down in tears. I mean, there's some times when they've seen me cry, but they don't know why. I was forced out of my job due to electronic harassment. That's something that's really hard for me to talk about because of where I live. It's a very small town. They don't necessarily understand what I'm going through, so I don't really talk about it. But right now I'm doing odd jobs with my family, who also knows bits and pieces, but I've been very isolated. And in affecting my children, I would say they don't have the childhood I believe that they should be having right now. You know, I should be able to take them out on vacations and go out and have fun. And right now I'm just getting by. I'm barely paying my rent. Sometimes I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table, but I've really tried to cover them as much as I can so they can have a normal childhood.
I have to commend you for that. I really do, Lindsay. I absolutely do. It just sickens me that any human being would target a mother that has children. That just is beyond repulsive to me, and I am so sorry. I cannot express to you how deeply sorry I am that this has happened to you. It's bad enough that it happens to anybody, but to target a mother that has small children is beyond repulsive to me. It just really is. And I am so sorry.
Well, the thing is about mothers are prime targets for the reason, well, it's all about mind control. We all know it's about mind control. Mind control is something that is generational. We know mind control under terms like tradition or protocols, family planning, these sort of things. And it's generational. Once you have a mother under a routine, controlled routine, then it's going to be a lot easier to get her children underneath that controlled routine, and then on and on. So mothers are definitely in danger. These people are spiritually devoid. True Luciferian, they only believe in the flesh, the material world. And so they
That's for
are
sure.
entirely driven. You talk about control freaks, entirely
Huh.
she wants to control every aspect of the physical world, including people.
Yes.
Science is just getting out of control. You know, the CERN stuff, they don't care if they create a black hole. They just want to know how to do it so they can control it. You know?
I'm so grateful. I mean, you wouldn't have heard me say this when I was young, but I am so grateful. I used to complain about it, but I'm so grateful when I was young that I didn't have a cell phone, that I didn't have a computer, that I was outside riding my bike, that I didn't have all this stuff that I'm messing around with when I was a kid. I am so grateful for all of that, because look at where all of this stuff has led us. Look where we're at. We are in a deep, deep hole because of all this. And I would trade my upbringing or where I was at growing up for love nor money. I really wouldn't. And if it wasn't for what I'm trying to do right now for the TI community with this, I would take all this stuff and throw it against the wall and dump it in the trash. I really would. I seriously would. It's just not worth it It's just not worth it to me to have it anymore because of what it does. It's just caused so much destruction, like V said. It's taken us, I believe, where no man should have ever gone. They really shouldn't have. It was meant to make life easier for people, to make things more convenient, not to destroy lives with. This generation was given this stuff and this information to make things easier, more convenient. They were privileged with this, with this technology, not to use against humanity, but to better humanity with. But instead, they did this with it. And it just absolutely sickens me. Sometimes I just don't know what to do with it all. I really don't. I kick back every single day because my mind never shuts off. And I just think all the time, what could you possibly be thinking? How can you possibly sit there and look at yourself in the mirror every day and not have a conscience about what you're doing to human beings, especially like you younger people that have children, that haven't done anything like this to anybody, that don't even have the capability of doing this to anybody. And I can't even imagine how you must feel when you're trying to sit there and raise young children. I can't even imagine. You're very, very brave, Lindsay. You really are.
Thank you. I mean, what choice do I have but to be brave? You know, I do it for my kids some days because, to be quite honest, I'm thankful to have them. There are days when, you know, as a targeted individual, it's hard. There are days you want to kill yourself because the targeting is so bad, but I look at my kids and I can't give up. You know, so I have them as a reason to keep going and to speak out about this, because the more I can speak out against it and make myself known and make targeted individuals known, the less power they have and the less control they have over all of us. And I always say this, and I've said it before, the moment that we all stand up and we rise together, they're not going to know what to do because they are not prepared for that. They want us cowering in fear. They want us thinking that they have the upper hand. And the reality is they don't. We're the individuals who are smart. We're the driven ones. We're the ones that are brave. So all we need to do is band together and slap them right back. And it's going to be over. So we just need to come to that realization that we have the power. And the only reason I'm alive is Jesus Christ. I will tell anybody that, and I will stand firm in my faith in saying that he is the only reason that I am alive and the reason that I can do what I do in these forces of darkness and battling this witchcraft. Because in my targeting, and I know we had spoken of this before, but the Bait Switch Kill program is what I came upon within these Scientology cults. And that is what they're doing to target these people in basically forming more perpetrators. They're baiting people with their intel and gaining it from hacking their computer systems. And then they're either using that to switch them over with honeypots or blackmail, which if anybody is curious what a honeypot is or doesn't know, that's a good-looking individual who slides in and tries to manipulate you into a relationship. And that makes you very vulnerable. And if they can't switch you through coercion, then they're going to blackmail you or threaten you into becoming a perpetrator. And if you do not fall into their trap, then you've hit the kill part of the program. And that's where I'm at, because I refuse to back down. I refuse to stand and target other people or become a hateful person or do anything that has to go against Christ. So you make a decision. You know, stand on your truth and die, or potentially die, which I'm not going to die. And I will stand here and say that I trust God enough that he's going to protect me through this. But that's the reality of what a targeted individual is and how brave they really are, because they're choosing to speak out against death.
Yep, they absolutely are, and you're correct. That's why I take the position, and I know you read my posts. That's why I take the position that I do. That's why I say what I say, because there is nothing else you can do to me. Nothing.
Right?
It's either stand up and be counted and stand up for what I believe in and stand up for other individuals going through this at this point, or nothing. And you know, I have so much respect for V because he's such a powerhouse when it comes to what he does. He does so much for so many targeted individuals. He has so many shows, and his word, the words that he puts out are so powerful. He's got so many powerful people that he interviews and so many things that he does that it's just incredible. I think the point with the whole thing is a combination of so many people working together, trying to get the word out. It can only get better. I think there's some things coming down the pipeline that targeted individuals are going to be seeing that are going to make a tremendous difference in how people perceive targeted individuals. And that's what my hope is with this show, is to try to have people perceive targeted individuals in a different way. I just would have only hoped that when I first became a targeted individual, that I would have had somewhere to go, people to talk to, resources that would have made things a little bit easier for me. And that's my hope. It is to give targeted individuals a place where they can go to, they can send others to for information. That's my, and I really don't think you understand, Lindsay, how important that the information that you provide today is for other people. It's so important. It really is.
Yeah, it's extremely important. And it's also extremely important to change the perception of how we see ourselves as well. There are psychological operations put into play to dominate the landscape of our minds. Self-perception is very important. I really don't consider myself to be a targeted individual. Yeah, I'm harassed, but I'm the one doing the targeting. I'm on the hunt. We all gotta get into a position to
Yeah, I agree, V.
stop being the prey and be the predator.
Yep. And I at the beginning, I used to say that I was a little deer surrounded by a sea of orange. I'm hunting just as much now as they're hunting me at this point. And that's the way I feel. Because you're not going to operate my life. You're not going to dictate to me how I'm going to operate my life, and you're certainly not going to manage any part of my life with fear. Because Lindsay, you know this. Fear is not of God; it's of the enemy. You know that.
Correct. And I think a lot of people don't take my targeting seriously sometimes because I do stand so firm on God's word, and I'm so brave and vocal that they don't believe that my targeting is as bad as it is. But it's as bad as anybody else's. I just don't let them control me. Like you said, you're
That's
not
right.
going to control me. You're not going to put fear in my heart.
No.
We all get scared sometimes, but I push through it. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that.
I get more angry than I do fearful. That's my deal. I get more ticked off than I do fearful. That it just things just aggravate the living tar out of me before they make me fearful at this point. You know, Lindsay, I really cannot thank you enough for coming on the show today. I really can't. It's been more than a pleasure. I really looked forward to having you on today. I really did. I know that you got a lot on your plate, and it was such a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're very welcome. And I just want to say, you know, if anybody has any questions about the occult, I'm very open to exposing anything anybody has any questions on. I teach spiritual warfare on my Facebook page. I'd like to set up my own website soon. That's in helping targeted individuals with ground control, because that's part of spiritual warfare as well. And I also do deliverance which is a modern day term for exorcisms as well. So I'm here to help each other. I'm here to help everybody else as well as getting help myself.
And always free, Lindsay. Always feel free. I think you already know this, though. Feel free to post whatever you need to post on my wall. You're always welcome. So,
Absolutely. Same goes for you.
So thank you again, Lindsay, very much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to have somebody supporting in this.
No, you're very welcome. And I want to thank everybody for joining V and I again for another edition of Targeted. And join again next time. We look forward to having you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.